July 27th won't announce itself. It will just change everything before you know what hit you. This is the alignment they don't talk about. The one ancient calendar marked in silence. Not because it was soft, but because it was irreversible. The days leading up to it never behave. Calls come at the wrong hour. Words slip from people's mouths like warnings. The air around certain places hums louder than it should. You're not being prepared. You're already inside it. Every moment is being rerouted toward a single point. And after that, the path won't open the same way again. Stay exactly where you are, because in the next few minutes, you'll understand why July 27th is the most important fork in your timeline you've ever faced. Tomorrow opens the door to something that doesn't circle back. It moves forward fast. There's a shift coming that clears the noise and puts the real stuff in front of you. Around July 27th, the energy flips. What's been dragging finally gets out of the way. What matters steps into focus. The distractions lose their grip, and you start locking in on what actually moves you. It's not heavy. It's not dramatic. It's clean, sharp, and personal. The kind of shift that makes you walk different, think clearer, and stop second-guessing what's been calling you for a while. No forced change, just the right timing, landing exactly where it needs to. This moment isn't about chasing anything. It's about catching up to who you already are. And once it clicks, nothing about your path will look the same again. July 27th's moon doesn't rise quietly. It shows up with purpose. It's part of a rare alignment that acts like a signal boost, not just in the sky, but within your daily reality. When celestial events line up like this, it's not about watching from a distance. It's about tuning in to what's syncing up with your own pace. This isn't the kind of shift that pushes you around. It guides gently but clearly. Think of it like walking through a hallway where every door has been locked for months, and suddenly, without force, one clicks open. That's what this alignment offers. A clean break from confusion and a green light towards something more aligned with where you're actually heading. Astrologically, July 27th carries the energy of activation. With the moon connecting to high-impact planetary motion, things that were dragging their feet start to move. You may see changes in direction, not dramatic, but strong enough to matter. The air around this time has less clutter, more clarity, and in that clarity, you're more likely to make moves that actually stick. Numerologically, the date holds weight too. The numbers 2 and 7 carry strong messages. 2 is about alignment, not just with people, but with timing. 7 brings depth, like diving beneath the surface, and finally understanding what's really been going on behind the scenes. Put them together, and you've got progress backed by purpose. It's like momentum with meaning. In plain terms, this moon isn't here to entertain. It's here to realign. The timing hits between emotional clarity and mental focus, which makes it perfect for decisions you've been putting off. Not because you weren't ready, but because things didn't quite click yet. That click is now. Imagine carrying a bag you've outgrown. Not heavy, just outdated. This alignment helps you put it down and finally walk forward without dragging what no longer belongs. That doesn't mean everything changes overnight, but the direction becomes obvious, and sometimes clarity is all it takes. The moon's position on July 27th also supports cleaner communication, not just with others, but with yourself. You might catch yourself saying things out loud that you've only been thinking for months. That honesty opens the way for better connections, tighter focus, and more natural momentum. What makes this moment special isn't how big it looks, it's how real it lands. You may not have words for it, and that's okay. You don't need labels. You'll know what lines up when it does. And once it does, it's hard to ignore. Think of this as a cosmic green light, not flashing, not loud, just steady. The kind of confirmation that shows up in the small stuff. A conversation that goes better than expected, a delay that suddenly lifts. A moment where your mind feels clearer than it has in weeks. That's the alignment doing its work. Not in the sky, but right here in your world. It's not about chasing anything, it's about recognizing what's already circling closer. And July 27th marks the moment when that rhythm syncs with yours. The best part, you don't have to force a thing, just move with what flows naturally. You'll be surprised how far it takes you. Everything is moving right on time. No rush, no delay, just the exact moment landing where it needs to. Now gently bring your attention to the space around you. The sounds, the shapes, the colors. Let them settle. Everything outside of this moment can wait. The noise, the scrolling, the next task, none of it matters here. You've carved out this pause, and that already shifts everything. Notice the ground beneath you, solid, steady. It's holding you without asking anything back. Every part of you belongs right here. No fixing, no changing, no editing. You're not behind. You're not late. This is the now that matters most. With each second, it becomes easier to drop into your own pace. Nothing forced, nothing pressed. This is where things start moving, not with pressure, but with ease. That calm you've been looking for, it's already close. Let your hands rest wherever they land naturally. Don't overthink it. This space doesn't need effort, it needs presence. You've already arrived. Everything else is just tuning in. Now bring your focus inward, not to chase thoughts, but to let them slow down. Like a song fading out, let the volume of the outside world lower gently. There's no need to block anything. Just soften it. Whatever shows up in your mind, let it pass. Let it slide by, like clouds over a quiet sky. No judgment, no control, just observation. It's not about fixing the mind. It's about watching it without getting pulled. Now focus on one word, realignment. Let it hover in your awareness, like a calm anchor. You don't need to hold on to it tightly, just let it stay near the front of your mind like a quiet reminder. Realignment doesn't mean tearing things down, it means adjusting, getting back into rhythm with what already fits, what's always been yours, waiting for the noise to quiet. Picture a dial turning slowly, not jumping, not breaking, just clicking back into place. That's the kind of shift we're working with today. It's not about forcing a new version of yourself. It's about clearing out what no longer speaks for you. Wherever your thoughts go, bring them gently back to that word, realignment. Every time your mind drifts, treat it like a breeze passing through. No blame, just return to the center. Now quietly bring in a thought that lifts you. Not a task, not a goal, something simple, a word or phrase that makes your shoulders relax, something that reminds you of who you are when you're not rushing to prove anything. You don't have to repeat it, just let it sit, let it stay present like a favorite track playing in the background of your mind. Keep it there like a quiet soundtrack supporting your focus. Let your awareness drop into the space between moments. Not the past, not the future. Right now, where nothing's demanded from you, and everything is allowed to settle. That's where change begins. Start bringing attention to the parts of your life that feel out of sync. Not with stress, but with curiosity. Not everything is supposed to move fast. Some things need room. Some things need space to evolve, without interference. Wherever there's friction, bring a new kind of thought, not the usual questions or doubts. A thought that says, what if things could line up easier than I thought? Keep that close. Let that thought sit with you, while everything else quiets down. Now imagine your energy like a calm current, not dramatic, not loud, just steady. See it stretching gently across your day, touching everything important without spilling into what's not yours to carry. This is your space to recalibrate. You don't need the whole world to change. You just need the next few moments to be yours completely. Let the thought of effort fade. What happens when you stop reaching and start allowing? What starts to flow your way? When you stop forcing and start receiving, Let the questions stay open. You don't need answers right now. You're just letting your system come back online, clearly and calmly. No pressure, just presence. Now anchor into this next moment with a phrase that holds power for you. Not flashy, not dramatic. Something real, a statement that brings you back to your center. Choose something steady, something true, something that clicks. Keep it close like a trusted friend, sitting silently beside you. You're not here to hustle through change. You're here to sync with what's already lining up. That's what real transformation feels like. Quiet, powerful, and personal. July 27th carries this exact kind of shift. Quiet in the background, but strong enough to turn everything in a new direction. Now shift your awareness toward clarity. Not the kind you chase, but the kind that rises on its own when distractions fall away. Imagine clarity as a soft tone underneath the noise, always playing, even when you're too busy to hear it. That tone is coming in stronger now. Keep listening. Clarity doesn't come in big announcements. It lands in quiet knowing. In the way your shoulders drop when something finally makes sense. In the way your mind softens when the next step becomes obvious. You're not here to figure it all out. You're here to reconnect with your natural rhythm. The part of you that doesn't need convincing, a part that already knows. Now let your thoughts drift to movement, not external but internal. Progress doesn't always mean motion. Sometimes it means stillness that resets the pace, and sometimes it means walking away from what's been draining your energy without explanation. You don't need permission to let go of what doesn't match you anymore. You're allowed to evolve quietly. Now bring awareness to what actually energizes you. Not what's expected, not what's familiar, but what brings you that lightness, that internal yes. Stay with that thought. Let it expand without pushing it. That's the direction to trust. That's what you follow when nothing else is clear. You're doing more than you think. By simply being present here, you've already shifted the tone of your day. That alone carries momentum. No rush to decide. No checklist. No perfect mindset required. You're not being tested. You're being reconnected. This isn't performance. This is presence. When things quiet down inside, the outside starts to adjust too. That's the influence you carry without even trying. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to the space you're in. Not with a jolt, but gradually. The edges of the moment will guide you. The sound of the room, the color of the light, the way everything starts to move again without pressure. You've done what you needed to do simply by showing up fully. Staying grounded doesn't mean holding still. It's more like syncing with the rhythm that's already present in motion, not static. Even quiet moments have movement. Noticing how thoughts drift in and out like city lights through a train window. You're not chasing them. You're simply watching. There's no single perfect pace here. You're not late, and you're not early. Everything has its own arrival. Let each breath of awareness move you closer to that center where effort dissolves. Not from trying, but by letting all the noise settle. Whatever may have felt too noisy this month, consider the possibility that it's not demanding attention, just dissolving on its own. Don't carry what's leaving. Let what's done be done. Space isn't empty. It's full of everything you're now ready to recognize. Clarity lives in that space. Direction too. Not as a checklist or plan, more like an inner signal that flashes quietly and then stays on. You don't have to be perfect to be aligned. You don't need to perform peacefulness. Just be in sync with your own clarity, even if it's still loading. That's real progress. That's evolution. Right now the static is lifting. That internal buzz that used to keep pulling you away. It's not louder anymore. It's just familiar. And now you've outgrown it. Tension doesn't win when you resist it. It fades when it no longer gets your focus. July 27th reminds us we've outgrown certain loops. What once felt like the whole story is now a single page. The next part doesn't need an explanation. It needs your presence. Maybe this is the first time in a long while you're not seeking confirmation. That silence isn't empty. It's just the sound of not needing. All that clutter, internal or external, no longer defines who you are. It's just background. You're not reacting from default anymore. You're choosing from alignment, from clarity, from maturity. That's power without pressure. Nothing in this moment is demanding urgency. No alarms, just signals.
subtle shifts in your awareness that feel more honest than anything loud ever did.
Movement happens even when we're not pushing. Growth doesn't need a stopwatch. You're not late, you're not behind, you're not being tested, you're being reminded. Small shifts lead to bigger leaps. But this time, no rush to leap. Even being still can be a leap. Especially when you're fully aware of the space you're standing in. That's grounding. That's what moves the dial. Decisions don't need noise to be real. The most powerful ones come in quiet flashes, unnoticed by others, but deeply real to you. That's your signal, not for action yet, but for awareness. Take this awareness and let it stretch. Let it reshape what you've believed about time, readiness, and progress. Some things are growing even when you can't measure them. That's real growth. Invisible at first, undeniable later. Imagine carrying this kind of calm into your daily life. Not as something rare, but as a new normal. What if that was your baseline? What if quiet confidence replaced overthinking? Let those internal downloads come in pieces. No need to force understanding. Insight lands best when you're not trying to catch it. Let the clarity sneak in while you're simply being. Stop trying to decode the whole puzzle. Just hold one piece at a time. That's more than enough. In fact, that's how alignment works. Not all at once, but step by step. The moment you stop chasing is often the moment what you need shows up. But not as drama, as peace. The kind that doesn't need explanation. It just lands, and you recognize it. Even without knowing the full picture, you know what's no longer meant to stay. Some things end without needing closure. That's your clarity speaking through calm. What you're creating now has a different texture, less noise, more intention. Less what if, more what now. That shift can only happen when you trust your own timing more than external validation. Stop waiting for the next confirmation. You are the green light. The road clears the moment you believe it's already open. What happens next isn't about effort, it's about alignment. Moving because it clicks, not because it's forced. That's how modern transformation looks. And transformation doesn't always shout. Sometimes it arrives like a song, with no lyrics. You know it's powerful even if you can't explain why. That's how this moment wants to land. No instruction, just recognition. July 27th marks a soft reboot, not a restart, not a redo, a natural rebalancing, a refresh in your internal atmosphere that doesn't need noise to prove its worth. You'll notice it not because it's loud, but because everything that isn't true will feel unnecessary. Whatever clutter once made decisions harder, now feels irrelevant. What complicated you before now simplifies itself. What drained you now loses access. This version of you isn't chasing the next moment. It's building it calmly, wisely, subtly, in small gestures, in intentional presence, in the way you move, not react. No more proving, no more performing, just presence, just clarity, just a rhythm that finally feels like it matches your internal speed. Your vision ahead isn't blurred, it's just adjusting. What matters now is not speed but accuracy, and trust that it's forming. Tomorrow doesn't arrive with noise, it builds quietly but powerfully through moments that look ordinary from the outside but are anything. On July 27th, something beneath the surface pulls forward. It doesn't knock. It doesn't wait for permission. It rises. The most unexpected part. It doesn't need a grand moment. No flashes, no loud announcements. It speaks through pause. In that instant when you're about to scroll past something but you don't, when you turn your head, not knowing why, when something clicks even though it doesn't make logical sense yet. That's the kind of language this moment speaks. What's arriving now is not here to explain itself. It's not concerned with timelines or plans. It wants to show you what was always hidden in plain sight. The answer you were too busy to catch, the pull you brushed off as distraction, the instinct you delayed because life was calling you elsewhere. This is not about changing who you are. It's about remembering what never left. Some things won't make sense yet, but they're still true. Some people won't understand your next step, but you'll still need to take it. And some emotions may not look tidy, but they're part of the awakening that's been growing in silence. You didn't miss anything. You didn't take the wrong turn. What you thought was a delay was preparation. What you thought was silence was direction. What you believed was too late was perfectly timed. The most powerful moments often don't come when we're trying to fix things, but when we finally stop doing things the old way. You were never meant to keep watering what keeps you small. Shrink around people who only celebrate the filtered version of you. Wait for someone else to give you permission to begin, and no one else is coming to show you what already lives within. That's your job now. It's uncomfortable at first. The in-between stage, where the old doesn't fit, but the new hasn't landed fully. But that space is where everything is quietly restructuring, where your future is starting to whisper its first line. Trust that what's leaving isn't meant to stay, no matter how long it's been with you. What feels unfamiliar might be the most real thing you've touched in a while. It's not a breakdown. It's not confusion. It's expansion. A stretching of who you thought you were so that who you actually are can finally stand up and take the lead. Some moments will require you to say yes before you know what the yes is for. That's not recklessness. That's faith. And the world moves for those who move with. This is the turning point. The moment when clarity starts dripping into places you once thought were foggy. Strength doesn't look like pushing. It looks like releasing. Your next chapter doesn't need a title. It needs truth. You might look around and wonder why things are suddenly shifting without your effort, why some people are slowly fading out, why old stories no longer sting. That's because they're dissolving piece by piece as your frequency changes. You don't have to fight for what's already yours. You just have to stop holding what's expired. Your timeline isn't behind. Your process isn't broken. The path you're walking doesn't require outside validation. What it requires is presence, the kind that doesn't check the clock every few minutes for confirmation. Trust has nothing to do with having the full picture. It's about walking forward, even when all you can see is the next footstep. You've outgrown who you had to be, and now the universe is finally catching up with your internal decision to rise. No need to explain, no need to justify. Let this be the moment you stop looking for permission to change. Realize the change has already started. No one really prepares you for how fast it happens, how life tilts, and something you once ignored suddenly takes center stage. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet recognition that the way forward is no longer behind you. The pull isn't backward anymore. It's not about fixing the old. It's about outgrowing it completely. You might look around and realize the things you were once chasing don't excite you. They might still sparkle, but they don't speak to you the same way. That's not confusion. It's clarity in disguise. A sign you're tuned in. What once looked like goals may now look like distractions in nicer packaging. It's not always about removing things either. Sometimes the biggest shift happens when you stay still, long enough to finally recognize what's already growing. We often chase growth, thinking it's something outside us, but real growth doesn't demand. It just starts showing up through your actions, your silence, the way you stop forcing what was never meant to stay. July 27th wasn't chosen by you, but it's absolutely choosing you now. Whether you believe in timing or not, you're inside something bigger than logic. This date may look like any other, but it carries its own rhythm, and somehow you've matched it. Here's the wild part. Most of what you've been preparing for is already behind you. It wasn't the plan that needed fixing, it was your permission. You don't need more signs, you need fewer excuses. Every delay wasn't a block, it was a redirection away from what would have slowed you down, and that includes your old stories about who you are and what you're capable of. This is where something deep within stops tolerating half versions of your truth. It's the moment when maybe later starts sounding like never. You stop trying to fit in places that can't stretch with you, shrinking for comfort, and start expanding without asking for approval. Don't underestimate how much can change when you let silence do the talking. Your breakthrough might not need a loud announcement.
It might start with a boundary you quietly reinforce, a standard you don't lower this time, a truth you no longer hide because it might make someone else uncomfortable. No big sign in the sky, no dramatic finish line, just a quiet, clear knowing that you've outgrown the loop. That's when it gets real. That's when life starts to mirror the strength you've been building behind the scenes. Your clarity will upset people who relied on your confusion, and that's okay. That's part of the clear. You don't need to explain growth to those committed to misunderstanding it. This isn't about proving anything. It's about becoming undeniable in your direction. The insight that's arriving now isn't here to make things easy. It's here to make things honest. You've stepped into a version of yourself that no longer waits for the green light. You are the signal now. The spark isn't coming. It's already in motion. Growth rarely announces itself. It shows in how we respond, how we shift, how we keep showing up even when things don't move the way we expect. There's real power in staying connected during times like these, and your presence here means you're already aligned with more than most realize. This journey isn't about rushing toward an end. It's about being aware of the changes unfolding in real time. So take a second to reflect. What has been pulling your attention lately? What no longer clicks the way it used to? Around July 27th, the alignment that's been building beneath the surface starts to take shape in tangible ways. It won't ask for attention. It'll ask for action. Even small shifts can carry deep meaning during this time. Share your thoughts below, whether it's something that's landed for you in this message, or a quiet shift happening behind the scenes. Someone else might need to hear exactly what you've realized. These collective moments of awareness ripple far beyond what we can see. Your voice matters in this space. Every person drawn here is part of a much bigger pattern, and we rise faster when we rise together. So don't keep your insights to yourself. Let's create a space that reminds us we're not alone in this transition. A single insight shared at the right time can unlock clarity for someone else. Together, we're building something that lasts well beyond a single moon phase. Something grounded, real, and ready for what's next.